I saw one comment on Facebook. Somebody say, we need to leave the Democratic plantation. I saw somebody say that. I thought about it, and I saw one of the comments from my comrade Judah, and he was like, Yafeyo, they still think the problem is a political party. And I thought about it for a second. Why do we think the problem is either Democrats or Republicans? I see it on both sides. I see the conversation on both sides. One is pointing the finger towards the other. And then I ask myself, what goddamn interest can we gain from either group? Y'all know the Republican-led Supreme Court just gutted the Voters' Rights Act. I'm not even one person that's big on civil rights, but I know that that particular vote does not represent my best interest. I know it don't. I know it don't represent my best interest. To target particular locations where we make the majority, like we're the community. So of course, we need representation if we the community in said area, in that particular location. The purpose of that, of course, nobody's doing their homework, is because we've been politically disenfranchised since we set foot in this country. That goes for the LBAs, that goes for the Pan-Africanists, for everybody. The moment we've entered this country, we have been disenfranchised. Obviously, that effort is going forth now, that these people are going using their old tactics. That's what Donald Trump has brought forth. That's the corruption that Donald Trump has brought forth. So I can't see how a nigga could align himself with folks that don't have his best interest at heart. I just don't see how it's possible. It don't make sense. And most times, often, it's black men that align themselves with that particular position. And I just don't get it. That position is not about liberation. That position is not about freedom. Hear the other side. The goddamn Democrats started the KKK. Democrats don't have the interests of black folks. They don't. They don't. When I look back at the vote for police accountability, and I noticed those Democrats that did not want to vote or push forth for police accountability in 2020, and this was something that the Democrats promised, and it was really their time to shine, really their time to be awesome, really their time to prove that they will acknowledge a historical wrong related to police brutality. Again, we say police brutality is truthfully a euphemism for police terrorism. That's what police brutality is. And we saw a number of times where Democrats gave symbolic solidarity. Symbolic solidarity. The problem I have with that is that they sending billions of dollars to other countries. I'm talking about the Democrats. They sending billions of dollars to other countries, Israel being one, other countries. But rarely, if ever, do they support what's going on here in this country, in our communities, in our neighborhood. And they didn't even want to pass the Police Accountability Act in the United States Senate. They could have did it if they wanted to. They could have did it. They could have went nuclear. They could have did it if they wanted to. If it was something that they believed in, and I believe that they should. And I tell you why. Because over 90% of black folks, African Americans, vote Democrat. Religiously. I can get on the phone right now, and I can call Miss Jackson on the phone. I say, how you doing, Miss Jackson? who you voting for? First question she gonna ask is, are they a Democrat? Because that's who she's gonna align herself with. And she's only gonna align herself with the most familiar name on the ballot. Not that these particular people have done anything, not that these particular people truthfully represent the interests of the community, only because that's a name she thinks she heard of or may be familiar with, but can't recall what that particular politician has done in the last 5 years. This is a problem that we have in my city. We got niggas that's been elected in positions in 30 and 40 years that, frankly, I can't tell you what the hell they do. You know, and if I go outside our headquarters, Community Movement Builders headquarters, and knock on the door on one of the neighbors here in this area and ask them, you know, what this particular politician do, they can't tell you. They can tell you about some shit they seen on TV. You know, they can tell you about some old folks said from 25, 30 years ago, but they can't tell you what this politician has done the last 5, 10 years. I'm just telling the truth. I'm just telling the truth. These are hard facts. These are hard facts. So I say all of that to say is that no person, especially black people, I'm speaking to black people in this particular message, we should not align ourselves religiously with any particular group. Because I don't think none of them have our position. I don't think the Democrats have our position in favor, and I certainly don't think the Republicans at this time have our position at heart. They don't love us. What make you think the Republicans love us? What have they done to gain our allegiance? What have they done? Exactly. Tell me. I want to know. What has Donald Trump, and we go before Donald Trump, George Bush, who else? Senior and Junior, Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, what has any of those guys done specifically for the interests of black people that deserves 10% historically our vote? I'm talking to the black men now. I'm talking to the niggas in the Kevin Samuels group. Yeah, I'm talking to you, the niggas in the Kevin Samuels group that's always pushing this jargon. I'm talking about the folks that say, let's get out the Democratic plantation. What have they done for you, nigga? What they doing for you? Your granddaddy ain't shit. You know, you saw him work 40 years for the same organization, same company. And as soon as he retired, he died 5 years later. Your grandmother got a pension check for 5 years. I mean, what have they done to deserve your allegiance? I can't think of anything in particular. You know, all I see is time and time again from both political parties making promises and failures. They never meet us. And when it gets time to push for policy, when policy becomes an enacted thing, as I gave an example with the Democrats, I see nothing but failure. But you see, the Republicans are actively working against our interests because they know that 90% of y'all are going to vote Democrat. And they don't see that as their best interest. Their position is they want to go back to what they find as the good old days. They want to go back to white heterosexual men being in charge. That's what they want to go back to. They want to go back to the old style leadership. Property owners, landowners, having the most say in what's going on in the policy. This is what's being put by the Republicans. So I asked myself, what the fuck we doing? Because the Republicans don't got our interest. The Democrats don't got our interest, especially the Democrats up top pushing this support behind Israel and other countries, while at the same time watching countries like Sudan struggle and fight against the United Arab Emirates. And I know most of us, we will quickly holler, free Palestine, but ain't got shit to say about the Congo, ain't got shit to say about the Sudan, ain't got shit to say about South Dallas, ain't got shit to say about New Orleans, Los Angeles, Cleveland, wherever we may be. Florida, we ain't got shit to say about our own particular communities because the leadership in those particular communities through the nonprofit industrial complex or through churches or through masjids or whatever it may be are bought out. And these same niggas that's been in leadership, I'm talking about black folks, these same folks have been in running things for the last 20 and 30 years. I'm talking about black folks. And they're not doing anything but model themselves after white folks or doing what the white folks saying or accepting the brown paper bag. Y'all know them Democrats accept them brown paper bags, don't you? Y'all know that. Y'all know that they accept those brown paper bags. You know what those brown paper bags be full of? It be full of money. It be full of, getting their vote bought out. And it's not necessarily in the interest of the community. I don't know how many times I walk outside the door here at the headquarters and I look outside at Highland Hills and I be like, man, why has this community have been looking like this since the 60s? And then I look at the leadership. I look at John Wiley Price. I look at Senator Russ West. I look at all the Negroes that's been on the city council. I look at all of them. I look at Texas State Representatives, 110, 111, 112, and I say, damn, why can't all these people come together and put together a black agenda? A black agenda that can be duplicated on a national level. Why can't these people do that? Why are they refusing to come together specifically for a black agenda? I'm talking about a real black agenda. I'm not talking about no Democratic Party black agenda. I'm not talking about no Republican coon nigga agenda. I'm talking about a black agenda that's 100% for the interest of black folks. That's what I'm talking about. And it just bewilders me. Because these same people, and potentially people that may comment on this will tell us we don't vote. I ask myself, who the hell we voting for? Satan or the devil? Get with me.